prove last night?
That Dan Campbell is a heck of a coach and has created a great culture.
Oh, that's
all right. They needed to come back and make a statement after that loss to the Chiefs. All right. Now, they haven't lost back-to-back games in 3 years. October 30th, 2022, I think was their last. And that's when they were 9-8.
Yeah.
Since they've become an elite team, they have not lost back-to-back games. And they did it with, I'm saying their 4 starters in the defensive backfield were out, but it was like 5 of their top defensive backs were out.
Right.
And so
Which
that's
is
what I
crazy.
mean by the culture. Like, when you don't have your starters, we've talked about a lot of teams not having players, Baltimore, Kansas City, all these teams that don't have, Tampa Bay that's had injuries. And for them to go out there and hold, right now, in most people's opinion, certainly going into that game, the league MVP to his worst game of the season. I get it, they had injuries, but Ibuka played. Mike Evans was there for about half the game. To do what they did to that Tampa Bay offense, I think was impressive. And again, to me, it speaks about their culture, their depth. They're not like Goff is very good, but he's not Patrick. He's not Josh. We know he's not in that top tier where it's your quarterback kind of carrying you. He is a very good player who's part of a great team, and they showed it yesterday with their depth and then the versatility of the way they did it. We've seen it be David Montgomery. Last night it was Jahmyr Gibbs. So, look, they did what they needed to do, Nick. Obviously, they're still disappointed about losing to the Chiefs, but to come out and beat another top team is all you can do in that situation.
Yes, and oddly, because they played this well with an even more injury-ravaged team than they played the Chiefs, it almost removes some of the excuses some folks were trying to make for them a week ago about, well, what do you want them to do undermanned defensively? We kind of showed, they showed you what people would have wanted them to do. Now, holding a team to 9 points is impressive no matter the scenario, especially a team that has been as prolific offensively as Tampa's been. I thought that was a massive bounce-back spot that I did not know that they were mentally going to be ready for. Now, as far as them being upset about the officiating and stuff from a week ago, I think after last night, Lions fans can feel like we're about even. Like that
maybe they'll think complaining.
that maybe my crazy hot take for the last 5 years, which is the NFL is not slanted towards one team. The NFL is very hard to officiate, and if you're on national TV, you're going to have 3 or 4 calls any game that are going to be like, wow, that seems like they got it wrong.
You know, it's really funny. There was just a study conducted. There was a study done by the University of Texas at El Paso where they had analyzed over 13,000 penalty calls from 2015 to 2023. And what the researchers found that postseason officiating has disproportionately favored the Mahomes era Kansas City Chiefs, coinciding with their rise as one of the NFL's most marketable franchises. That's just what the study said. You guys look it up. So, it's not my opinion. I'm not saying this is my opinion. I'm just saying that there's a study out there that shows that. Just saying. But the whole questioning that the Detroit Lions were capable of being resilient or having a bounce back game or something is so insane. I told you guys this before months ago. I was like, I want to make a shirt that says Detroit Fragility because they keep trying to act like the Lions are this fragile team. It drives me insane because the Lions have shown nothing of that. They've shown 0 sense of them being a fragile team. And that's why Nick was like, wow, teams are 5,000 after they play the Chiefs or whatever. And I was like, that's absurd. What are we trying to invent here? And still even talking about the last game against the Chiefs is so absurd. It just doesn't make any sense right now. I mean, it's just they were still angry about the penalties, and now they weren't going to be able to focus on the Buccaneers. Right, because if there's one thing we know about the Detroit Lions, they're not good at focusing. They're not good at being ready for the moment. They're notoriously underprepared They're always lethargic and don't bring a lot of energy and effort. Like, it's just absurd. It really is. It's such a headache of nonsense, man. It really is. For a team for over these last few years that's been the most prepared, incredibly resilient, energy through the roof, effort through the roof. And that's what was the most exciting thing of watching this game. Like, I don't think the Lions necessarily proved that. Like, Dan Campbell didn't prove himself in this game. Like, that doesn't really make sense to me. What it did show is that they are, without a doubt, still a top, high-powered team that can play incredibly high-quality football. Where I think people were going to start to question that, hey, you only beat bad teams. You beat the Ravens, but the Ravens were really falling apart. You started to be like, I don't know. When the one team that was really great, you played the Chiefs, and that wasn't the best game. And so, like, that was then starting to concern. And, once you do lose a couple games in a row, like, things get weird. You're just kind of like, right? If they lost to the Chiefs and then the Bucks, they would start to have to question, are we going to be able to be as great as we hope we are this season? And then you would have to just be like, well, we're not healthy, right? Then you would have to kind of start playing that game. And so a win like this is just so energizing and motivating. I think you feel it as a fan too. And if you feel it as a fan too, this is what I always say, I'm telling you, the players and the coaching staff feel it as well. If you feel as though that the Lions needed this win, I promise you the players and the coaching staff felt it too. And so to win in the way that they did, where it was just energy and effort and just like, we will not be outplayed. We will not be outplayed. And a bunch of the points were gifts because of the turnovers, especially the one interception. They played the Buccaneers even better than the box score shows. And they were also fortunate because, like I talked about earlier, and I'll make a separate Buccaneers video. But Baker was really inaccurate, which I highlighted. And there were throws for him to make that he just missed, and that if you're evaluating your defense, that is something that the Lions, the coaching staff's going to address it as well, right? Like they're going to look at him like, man, it was just a good thing that Baker just missed. And so you need this defense to get healthier. You need this defense to continue to get healthier. But the effort and the energy that they put out there, like as Troy Aikman highlighted, was just it's just enjoyable to watch. It's just awesome. And watching Gibbs, Gibbs was just an absolute monster. The perfect play, the perfect example of that. It wasn't the perfect play, but when it was like 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, whatever it was, and like Gibbs was like a full like 2-3 yards behind the first down, the yard to gain, and he had to just absolutely bully and force his way to get there. And that to me was the game in a nutshell. And the ripping of the interception, it was just like if the Buccaneers had any weakness in any given moment of the game, any given a slightly bad throw, some weak tackle, whatever it is, the Lions are just like, thank you very much, we are going to make you pay to the maximum for it. And it was just awesome to watch. And it's the brand of football that I expect to see from the Lions. And you want to see them do it in more competitive games. It's why I always say, especially with the Lions, like, I just do not care ever when they blow out a bad team. It just means absolutely nothing to me, because it's just like, I expect you to be able to do those things. I expect, it's just like, I don't learn anything from that. But the tough resiliency against a tougher opponent. But like the fact that this was even close to being a game, at least for the first half, was kind of like confusing. And so you want to see them button things up more. Yeah, again, I said this as well earlier. Like they need to, so they can really solidify themselves as like, yes, we can get after it. Because again, you can make the argument if they were a little bit more buttoned up against the Kansas City Chiefs, regardless of the injuries, that game changes. That, Amon-Ra St. Brown catches that ball on 4th down, and if they convert and get that touchdown, that changes the game completely. Now, would they have won? Would the Chiefs still would have won? Who knows? Who cares? But that just shows you how the margin of error in some of these other games, in a game that's way more buttoned up, the Chiefs than the Bucs were, a lot of times it comes down to who's more buttoned up, right? Who's more buttoned up. So you want to see the Lions be able to still improve and get better and better and better, especially at the things that they can control. You can't control injuries right now, but you can control your execution. You can control, turning the ball over, converting on 4th downs, or just kicking the field goal. Just kicking the field goal. I mean, truthfully, you should have been stopped on multiple 4th downs. It was just Gibbs' sheer will that was like, you will not win because I will not lose. Like, that was just a monster moment for him. I think he had the most yards since Megatron. Just ridiculous. And they held Baker in the first half. 9 for 16, 47 yards, the interception at the half. He, for the entire game, was 28 for 50, 228 yards, 4.6 yards per attempt, a 66.1 passer rating. 4 sacks, was pressuring him all day. I think Goff was pretty good. I think his box score, again, he obviously had the fumble and the interception. But all in all, I think he actually played pretty well. I think what's the cool thing about the Lions are they really do embody perfectly that. This is going to sound kind of funny to say. They're a great team, not just great players. They're a great team. They play cohesively with one another. It's really hard to imagine the collection of players anywhere else. It really is. Like, imagine Amon-Ra St. Brown on a different team, Goff on a different team, Gibbs on a different team, Montgomery on a different team. Like, it's just hard to see it. A lot of other teams, I can see it. It's easy for me to see. This team is just built so complementary of one another that it's not like, oh, this team just has great guys. They're just a great team. And that's why they become greater than the sum of their parts. That's why the potential for this team is so through the roof. They just gotta. I still think they gotta continue to improve and continue to grow and just get smoother throughout the course of this season. And again, of course, get healthier. And I still think the Super Bowl is still right there for their taking. But what I am confident is that no team right now is just great enough where they can really afford to hurt themselves and still win. That much seems to be very true so far, the way how this season is unfolding. And so I will just, close here by saying the difference between the Lions winning the Super Bowl and not is how buttoned up are you? How buttoned up are you in that moment? Are you relying on Gibbs to be a monster in that very moment to convert that down? Or did you have a better play that set your player up for an easier day at it? Right? Does Amon-Ra St. Brown come up with that catch? Do you run the trick play appropriately? Right? Like, it's like, do you execute? I'm telling you right now, that is what it's going to come down to. It's not going to be in the playoffs. You're just like, the Lions just weren't good enough. Like, that's not what it's going to come down to. It's, did you execute? Did you execute? Yes or no? Did you have that penalty on 3rd and long and it was pass interference and there was no reason for it? You had it all covered. You did not have to tug his jersey, like whatever it is. That's what I think this season is going to come down to. And it's not just the Lions, of course, but more than anything. I don't think we saw that as much last year. The way how the gaps were just a little bit different this year. It's going to be so tiny. So tiny. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions? What did the Lions prove last night, if anything at all? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.